Now to the South Island. New Zealand's first Catholic cathedral in more than a century has locked in its architect, and there are calls to revive the Southerner passenger train. Joining us now from Christchurch for a wrap of the South Island's news is Newstalk ZB South Island News Director Claire Sherwood. Claire, good morning.
Good morning.
We'll start with your cathedral. Geez, you guys love a cathedral in Christchurch, don't you?
Do we ever? Now, this one, though, Ryan, is the cathedral that we don't speak about a whole lot. The Anglican Cathedral in the Square is the one that's gotten, to be fair, the majority of the attention post-quake. This one, though, that I'm talking about this morning is the Cathedral of the Catholic Church. It's the Cathedral of the Blessed Sacrament. It's located, or was located, on Barbados Street. It was a big, grand Oamaru stone building, which we lost during the quakes. So there has been a commitment from the Catholic Diocese to rebuild that cathedral. There was some toing and froing initially about whether they would stay on that site or whether they would perhaps get a new site. They did decide, though, a few months back now that they would stick around on that Barbados Street site. The news today is that they've confirmed the architect team to work on the design of that new cathedral and what that might look like. The architect that's been chosen is Warren and Marnie, and many people may recall there's been a documentary about Warren and Marnie just in very recent times that's come out. They are probably the most well-known architect down here in Christchurch. They're responsible for some of our really key buildings, including the Christchurch Town Hall, which of course survived the quakes with some significant work to be done post-quake, but also some of our newer buildings like the Te Pai Convention Centre just down the road from us here in the newsroom as well. So the Catholic Church, Michael Geelan, the bishop, he hopes that this rebuild with Warren and Marnie's help will mean that it is still one of Christchurch's most well-known and celebrated buildings when it finally gets to that point.
And Claire, what about the Southerner passenger train? There are calls to revive it.
Yeah, well, this is the passenger train that ran between Christchurch and Invercargill. It was canned, though, back in 2002. There has been sort of this brewing conversation around whether it should come back. And the team responsible for kind of hyping that have now got a petition online. They've got more than 2,000 people to sign that. And their key thing is, look, the infrastructure's already there. We run freight between, different centres in the South Island already. This would just mean using that existing infrastructure to also move passengers. They say it could also revive some of the townships along the way, which it would stop in at. So, for example, the likes of Ashburton, Timaru, Oamaru, Balclutha, even Gore could be a spot. So at this point, they're trying to whip up more support, I guess, get more people signing that petition so they can take it to the government and hope to get that across the line.
Interesting stuff, Claire. Thank you very much for coming on the show as always. That's Claire Sherwood, Newstalk ZB South Island News Director, were the wrap of the news in the South. What we didn't get to was the council in Christchurch agreeing, because the government changed the pay equity regime. That meant a whole bunch of librarians in Christchurch weren't going to get an increase to their pay. The council has stepped in and said, we will basically pay that regardless of the law change.